What is up? Welcome back to the Michael Spencer Sports Show, podcasting exclusively from livingonsports.com. If you missed the first segment, well, joining us in studio today for hopefully what will become a regular appearance is the CEO, founder, Mr. Everything of Living on Sports, Cheston McGuire.
Thank you for having me. I'd like to make this a regular thing. It's fun.
Yes. We will see. We will see what the producers and everybody want to do, and if they want to keep me on the air, and we will certainly have a good time. So let's talk a little college football. Just a few days away until the start of the season. Florida, the big news coming out of the AP poll. 58 of the 60 possible first-place votes go to the Gators. Well-deserved or well-hyped?
Well, here's the thing. When you're voting for week one for the preseason, you're voting for who is the best team right now. And last year, at the end of the season, Florida was the best. And they return all of their defense and most of their offense. They really only lose Percy Harvin of their personnel, add a better quarterbacks coach, and they keep back Tim Tebow. I think they deserve it.
I think there's nobody that has knocked them off yet.
That's my point. I mean, maybe 2 weeks down the line, they get tripped up, they lose a big game, then I'll give it to someone else. But as of right now, they are the best team in college football by far.
And so what do you think of the whole voting in the preseason thing? Because that's been an issue that came up a while back, and whether or not it's good for – I mean, obviously you have to have rankings, especially in college football where there's no playoff system. But, you know, does it really make a difference that Florida's the number one team in the nation and got 58 of the votes?
I don't think it makes a difference, but I don't think it's harmful to have it. I think it's good. It sparks debate. It makes things interesting. It'll create interesting matchups. You know, Lane Kiffin's going to use that as inspiration for when Tennessee and Florida play, and I think that's a good thing to have from the beginning so you know who to look for. And, I mean, every now and then they get it right. Florida, USC a couple of years ago, 1-2 the whole season. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was pretty right on, and I think every now and then they get it right.
Now, Florida, obviously the preseason favorite to make it to the national championship game. And depending upon who you ask, their opponent differs. But one opponent said to be had by ESPN analysis, Lou Holtz, is the University of Notre Dame. Seriously? Child, please, as Chad Ochocinco would say.
I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. This is a team that their coach is on the hot seat. He's the number one most likely coach to get fired this year just because of his dismal failures. He inherited a team that Tyrone Willingham built and just quickly ran them into the ground. They wanted to blame Tyrone, but all his players, the ones made it to the BCS Bowl that year and did so well in the Bush season.
Tyrone didn't even get a chance to recruit a whole – I mean, I'm a fan of if you give somebody – let them get a recruiting class through at least. Tyrone wasn't able to do that. Yeah, Weiss went to a good bowl with Brady Quinn, who Tyrone Willingham recruited.
He took Tyrone Willingham's team and took them as far as he could. And since then, what's he done? It's gotten worse every single season. They've touted his recruits, but Jimmy Clausen, he's not been what everyone thought he would. And I just think it's ridiculous. I'm totally with you on giving a coach 4 years. I mean, the guy, Mike Anderson, for example, a lot of people were questioning that hiring, and they were saying, well, he's got a lot of character issues, but those weren't his players. Now, given that, he's created a much better team and a stronger program. I think you let Tyrone Willingham doing that, maybe Notre Dame to be competing right now, but Charlie Weiss, no chance this year.
You know, and I think it's a sad state that people were so eager to fire Ty Willingham, but now that there's a chance to fire Charlie Weiss, well, Notre Dame's pulling back on it. And maybe it is because they learned from firing Ty Willingham too soon, but at the same time, maybe it's because Weiss is an alum, and you know, that goes into a race issue, which I don't want to touch on. But
could just be money, though. He has a pretty hefty contract.
And it could be money, too. And if it's, you know, I mean, a lot of stuff in collegiate sports is done for money. But I think that's a sad state. And Lou Holtz, off his rocker, saying that do you think Notre Dame has a legit chance?
I can name 25 teams that are better than Notre Dame and stand a better chance.
Yeah, there's no way. Now, does it get to the point where this is Lou Holtz being Lou Holtz, or this is Lou Holtz being crazy, get him off the TV?
I've always wanted him off the TV, but I think this is just another strike on him because I've just never found his opinion to be that good. I've never found anything that he's had to say to be interesting or original, except for Notre Dame's original thought. I'll give him that. But beyond that, nothing that's factual or could be done within the realm of reason. I just think it's time for him to go. He's a little too old, getting a little senile.
Well, and whatever happened to objectivity from journalists? And obviously Lou Holtz is not a journalist. He's more of an analyst, and he's only on ESPN because he, was a great coach. But come on now. There's plenty of athletes who played on former teams who can talk objectively about sports. And right. Lou Holtz is not one of those guys.
No, and there are even players like Kirk Herbstreit. He will blatantly tell you he loves The Ohio State University and everything about it. But when it comes down to it, if he were to be realistic about it, he tells you the facts about it and that they're not that good. They're not going to win it. And you just got to see that out of people. You can't not have people like that out there.
And that's, it's been an issue with Lou Holtz all along. And like you said, it's just another strike for him. And something's got to give. Something's got to happen.
Just let him retire. I mean, he's just off his rocker now.
Yeah, let him or force him, one of the two. Speaking of retiring, Greg Paul is not retiring, but switching sports. The former Duke Blue Devil who played at Duke basketball for 4 years, now going back to his roots as a quarterback. He, of course, was the Gatorade National Player of the Year his senior year in high school. He will be the starting quarterback for the Syracuse Orangemen. Sad state or mad respect for Greg Paul?
I'm going to give it both on this one. I mean, mad respect to the guy to get to a D1 BCS conference school. Granted, it's not a very good one in a very bad conference, but he got there. I mean, there are kids every day in high school that have put up impressive numbers and been playing more consistently than Greg Paulus. He hasn't played in 4 years, and they're giving him a shot. Respect to him, but sad to Syracuse that they have to recruit Greg Paulus to come play.
If Greg Paulus goes anywhere else that's a better program than Syracuse, does he even have a shot at getting the starting job? And do you think he chose Syracuse because he knew they have a crummy program and a good chance for him to start?
I think it's the reason he chose it, because other programs like Nebraska, which is supposed to take a huge step forward this year, we're looking at recruiting him. Another, not as big as Nebraska or Syracuse may be around, but we're looking at him and told him to come compete. But he knew Syracuse was a player he could come play right away. He's got 1 year to make his name and maybe get drafted in the NFL. So I give him respect to that one, and good luck to him in the Orange. They need it this year.
Yes, certainly they do in the Big East football realm. Coming up on the Michael Spencer Sports Show, we'll talk a little bit. We'll just cross sections on our last segment. We'll talk a little bit about Olympic runners. Usain Bolt, who is obviously a freak, a guy freak, and then the girl freak, or is she a girl? Maybe a guy. The most prolific NBA free agent who has yet to sign with a team, and old baseball players getting fresh starts. That's coming up right now on the Michael Spencer Sports Show.